One of the very first off-the-record scoops that we got here at the Gallant Goblin was years ago in a conversation with Patrick from WizKids, who told us that a huge Tarrasque mini was in the works, one of the biggest minis they had ever made. I think it was at least 2 years from the time of that conversation until that mini finally hit the store shelves, and we were sworn to secrecy, so we couldn't say anything until the announcement. I was so ready to go Tom Holland on that nugget of knowledge, and yes, it was absolutely massive, and you can see it in our review up there in the corner there. But in the intervening time, 2 other Tarrasque minis have grabbed my attention. As part of the Fool's Gold Kickstarter campaign from our sponsor Hit Point Press, another Tarrasque mini was announced. It hasn't shipped yet as of this recording, but we did get to see it at Gen Con last year, which is where I filmed this footage. Pretty amazing figure. While it's not available yet to purchase, HitPoint does have the STL file if you want to print it out at home. And the STL file is $25, and I'll throw that link down below. But the one we do have in hand now is the Tarrasque from the Dungeons & Lasers Encounters campaign. It was one of several super stretch goals that backers like me were sent for free with our pledges. That campaign is over now, obviously, but the mini is available now as an add-on for their most recent campaign, Deoslayer. Now, full disclosure, Dungeons & Lasers is a pretty frequent sponsor of ours, but this is a mini that we bought ourselves as part of our pledge during this last campaign. So this video isn't quite our triple threat Tarrasque match, but it is a mano-a-mano cage fight between 2 of the biggest bruisers in the biz. This is Undertaker versus Kane. So let's take a look at the Tarrasque from Dungeons & Lasers. Before we jump in, one of our sponsors this week is the Gloomhaven RPG, raising funds on BackerKit right now. They've turned one of the most popular board games of all time into a proper tabletop role-playing game, and now is your chance to pick it up for the lowest price you may ever get it. Grady and I are actually on the writing staff for the adventure, along with folks that you may have heard of, like Keith Baker, Elisa Teague, and B. Dave Walters. They also have a wellspring of amazing minis. We recently published our early playthrough that you can check out in the eye in the corner of your screen up there. The campaign ends on Wednesday, July 19th. That's this week, so don't miss out. It's also your opportunity to pick up a brand new rebalanced Gloomhaven 2.0 if you like the original board game. Check it all out using our links down below. That is the Gloomhaven RPG from Cephalophore Games. Now, like all the minis from Dungeons & Lasers, the Tarrasque comes unpainted on sprues. At minimum, you'll need a pair of sprue cutters and some super glue or your adhesive of choice. The Dungeons & Lasers minis are some of the easiest ones to assemble out there. There is a digital instructional manual to help you through the process, and I'll put that link down below as well. Though this time, unless I made a mistake, which is of course possible because I haven't had a proper long rest since like April, a couple of the parts were mislabeled, I think. What was identified as part 14 in the instructions was labeled as number 24 on the sprue, and what was labeled as part 17 in the instructions was 16 on the sprue, I think. It may be something that was fixed in later printing, so your mileage may vary, but keep that in mind. The Tarrasque mini is 7 inches high and 15 inches wide, or 186 millimeters high and 368 millimeters wide. Now, all I've done with this mini is assemble it. If you're going to use this mini on your table, you'll probably want to remove any mold lines, fill in the gaps, and generally clean the figure up. I'm on a deadline right now, so this is what the figure looks like for me after literally no refining whatsoever. You'll notice there's little bits of excess sprue material on there, there's gaps between the parts, that's all on me. But this should give you a proper sense of what the figure will look like in the end, and I'll show it to you along with some other creatures for scale in just a little bit. It took me maybe an hour and a half to put it together, though I was working pretty casually while distracted by a dozen other things, so that's just my life these days. But for a figure like this, I would recommend you taking the time to remove any bits of excess plastic remaining from the sprue before you start assembling your mini. I can still go back and fix mine up, but it is easier to do before you glue it together. But it is quite a gorgeous sculpt with lots of little detail to work with when you're ready to paint it up. If you're somehow not familiar with a Tarrasque, it is the biggest, baddest thing in the multiverse with a CR30 stat block and the basic rules. When we reviewed the WizKids Tarrasque, we made some custom magic items for for you, including a Tarrasque lure and a saddle of Tarrasque wrangling that we published on our website for free. You can go find that link down below as well. And if you want some tips on using a Tarrasque in your games and your campaigns, check out that review to learn everything you need to know. You can find that link in the eye up there or, of course, down below. But today we are here for that no-holds-barred match between the WizKids Tarrasque and the Dungeons & Lasers one, so here you can see them together. While our lovely DNL model is plenty impressive, he does look a little bit diminutive next to the WizKids model, which is to be expected, but the WizKids Tarrasque model costs about 5 times as much, and I don't think it is 5 times as good. When we put him up against the WizKids Adult Dragons, he's pretty much to scale with them. If you don't mind assembling and painting it yourself, the DNL Tarrasque is going to be a much more attainable thing for most of us. Though you should be aware that there are some pretty good discounts on the WizKids Tarrasque too right now. As I'm filming this, he's going for just, and I'm using finger quotes around the just here, $270. Considering that he was $400 at launch, that's a pretty reasonable price, maybe? But yeah, still a lot. But yes, the Dungeons & Lasers version is a beast in and of itself. I haven't seen too many people posting pictures of their painted versions just yet. It is a pretty new mini, but I did find this one by Instagram user Picasso-y, which is absolutely remarkable. If you paint minis, come and join our Discord server and share your work. We have a small but lovely community of painters who are always eager to help out new folks in the hobby, so you can find that Discord link down below along with the other thousands of links in this video. But before we wrap up, we are continuing to release brand new 5e spells for free that you can print out from our website and add to your games. They're designed to be paired with the cards from the animated Spellcraft Volume 1 deck from our sponsor Hit Point Press. I love this one. It is called Dreamcatcher. If you can cast this spell and then manage to fall asleep within range of your target, you can eavesdrop on their dreams, learning about their anxieties and desires, which then you can use against them. There's awesome potential for storytelling with this one. Download the free spell today at gallantgoblin.com/spellcraft, and then keep us on the air by using our link to pick up the animated Spellcraft Volume 1 deck from Hit Point Press. The Dungeons & Lasers Tarrasque is available now via their late pledge option in the Deus Slayer campaign on BackerKit. We'll put that link down below. I've said that a lot this time. It'll run you 59 euros or about 66 US dollars. Now, they are a Europe-based company, so keep that in mind when it comes to shipping prices. For me here in Texas, where it's too hot, the shipping costs come out to be about 30 euros or about 34 bucks. One thing to note, during their recent Dungeons & Lasers Encounters campaign, this Tarrasque was offered for free with our starter pledge, or starter plus pledge, which is how I got it. And honestly, I say this all the time, but not much beats a Dungeons & Lasers fundraising campaign if you want a lot of great minis for cheap. And their next campaign, Caves, is scheduled for Q4 2023, just around the corner. We don't know much about it just yet, but I think we're going to be making a preview video for it, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget to check out the Gloomhaven RPG fundraising site before July 19th if you want to get that game for a great discount, and get your free 5e spell at gallantgoblin.com/spellcraft and your Spellcraft deck from Hit Point Press using our link down below so they know we sent you. We got lots of fun stuff coming up, including a WizKids unboxing, which I think you're going to be seeing tomorrow if everything goes according to plan. You can hit the bell icon below me to be notified when our videos go live. We've also got more Onslaught minis, the Merchant's Row Scatter Terrain set, and if I can manage it before Gen Con, some reviews of recent Pathfinder and Cobalt Press books. So be sure you're subscribed to check all that out. Speaking of Gen Con, we will be there and we'll be bringing along some goodies to hand out. So if you see us just wandering the halls, come up and say hello and maybe we'll have a free treat for you. I'm also planning a new show that I couldn't be more excited about, something totally different for us that I think is going to be a lot of fun. Please stay tuned to see what that's all about. The only tease that I'll be able to give you is that it involves a lot of murder. Just a lot of murder. In the meantime, follow us on social media at one of these sites over here. And if you want to get a hero plushie of your own, you can visit heroplush.com and follow us at HeroPlush on Twitter, where I've been showing off some of our early prototypes and teases of new plushies and accessories to come. In the meantime, stay tuned. Stay tuned. No, stay safe. Have fun. Love each other. And I will see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.